Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to dive into a story that's about 2,500 years old. It's about a gift that was refused, not once, but 3 times. And the reason why? Well, it's a huge lesson in value. And believe it or not, the secret is all locked up inside one single, kind of misunderstood word. All right, so our story kicks off with a woman named Mahāpajāpatī Gotamī. Now, she was actually the Buddha's aunt and his foster mother. And get this. She spent weeks with her own hands spinning the thread and weaving this beautiful set of fine robes. And you have to understand, this was not just any gift. This was a super personal act of devotion. I mean, she crafted it with her own hands for one person and one person only, her teacher, the Buddha. So she presents this incredibly heartfelt gift, and he gently refuses. Then she offers it again. And he refuses a second time, and then a third time. Can you imagine? That seems, I don't know, almost cold, right? But here's the thing. The Buddha's reason had nothing to do with rejection. It was actually this really profound lesson in value, a lesson that's been kind of lost in translation. So to get to the bottom of it, we've got to look way deeper, right at the words themselves. Okay, so this whole puzzle, it all comes down to the meaning of just one single crucial word from the ancient Pali language. And that word is Dakkhiṇā. Now, if you just pull out a standard dictionary, the meaning seems pretty straightforward. It's an offering, a donation, maybe a gift, a respectful gesture. So when the Buddha tells her, hey, give this offering to the Saṅgha, that's the community of monks and nuns, it just sounds like he's being polite, right? Like he's deflecting a personal gift so the whole group can benefit. A nice gesture, for sure, but it doesn't seem like there's much more to it. But what if offering isn't the whole story? There's this ancient analytical tool. It's called Niruti. Think of it as a kind of linguistic insight that lets you trace a word all the way back to its roots to find what it really meant. So let's try that here. And wow, this changes everything. When we go back and trace the root of Dakkhiṇā, we find out it's actually tied to the idea of skill or dexterity. So all of a sudden, it's not just a gift anymore. It's a skillful investment, an act that's designed to create the best possible return. Think about the difference there. One way, it's just a static, one-time thing. But the other way, it's dynamic. It's like planting a seed in really good soil. So the question becomes, are you just giving something away, or are you actually cultivating a whole system for future growth? As soon as we start thinking of Dakkhiṇā as a strategic investment, the Buddha's advice totally transforms. It goes from being a polite, no thank you, to this brilliant piece of financial and spiritual guidance. He's not just turning down a gift, he's laying out a whole investment strategy for her. And the text actually breaks it down. It points to 2 different kinds of investment opportunities. First, you've got a direct investment in one person, an individual. And second, you have a more diversified investment in the community as a whole. Okay, and this is where it gets really incredible. The text literally quantifies the return on these investments. So giving to an animal, you get 100 times return. But giving to a virtuous person, we're talking 100,000 times return. The principle here is crystal clear. The more virtuous the recipient, the more the value of your investment just skyrockets. But then, what about an investment in the entire community, the Saṅgha? Well, the text says the return on that is just incalculable and immeasurable. It's completely off the charts. Basically, it's infinite. And this brings us right back to Gotamī and her gift of robes. See, the Buddha wasn't turning her down just to be modest. He was teaching her. He was showing her a much, much better investment strategy, one with those limitless, incalculable returns. But wait, the analysis actually goes even deeper. The text then breaks down what makes an investment pure, which, as you can imagine, directly impacts how fruitful it's going to be. You can kind of think of it like this. The quality of any investment depends on the people involved, right? The text lays out this little matrix, and it shows that the purity of a gift and how much it pays off really depends on the virtue of both the person giving and the person receiving. So, no surprise here, the absolute best case scenario, the one that generates the most value, is when a virtuous person gives to another virtuous person. It creates this amazing, powerful, positive feedback loop. And what's the absolute peak, the tippy top of this whole thing? The text says it's a gift between 2 people who are completely free from passion and attachment. That right there is considered the most powerful and fruitful investment you can possibly make. All right, so let's pull this all together. What can a 2,500-year-old deep dive into language really teach us today about a simple act of giving? Well, first, it shows us that the words we use all the time can have these incredible hidden layers. Offering suddenly becomes investment. Second, it proves that a simple human story can actually hold a really complex system of cause and effect. And finally, it just goes to show that changing your perspective, just seeing a gift as an investment, can unlock this incredibly deep and powerful wisdom. So that leaves us with a final thought, right? If a whole framework for skillful living was hiding inside this one little word, what other profound ideas are we just walking past every single day? Thanks for digging into that with us.